This is Alex for Get Your Rock Out, and I'm here with Pete and Linton from the legends that are Nazareth. How are we doing, gents?
Very well.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Alex.
Thank you very much. So here we are, West London, kind of my turf, which is strange for once. And would you like to just tell us what we're doing here in Metropolis Studios?
Yeah, well, we're recording a DVD in the studios as a live DVD to a live audience. We hope they're live. Yeah. We don't play to dead audiences, but so it's just a sort of very small audience, about 100 people, and so it's very different from us. We've done live DVDs before, but not in such a small, sort of intimate kind of setting as this, you know. So everybody's really looking forward to it, and the whole thing is well, there's interviews, obviously. It's going to be like a documentary, really, you know, but with a whole set, you know. So there'll be little bits of docu stuff and the band live. So that's quite exciting stuff.
And it's got an international audience.
Yeah,
from all over the world, which is quite nice. It's quite warming, actually.
Yeah, so even at the hotel we're in, we've got people there that have come from Russia, Norway, Israel, Germany, Austria, just all over the place, Belgium, a lot of Europe. So it's, as Linton says, a very international audience. Not a big audience, but they represent most of Europe.
Well, actually, there's a stat about that. Did you know that 4 times as many people have actually been into space than will actually be here tonight, including you guys on stage? There you go. Feel free to drop that one into the press notes. Where did the idea come from for performing here tonight to such a select small audience?
It's actually I think a series that the Metropolis and Entertainment One together they're doing from what I understand as a series like this, these documentaries, and they've done the intent to do I think it's 70s sort of bands, you know, that they're involved. One of the bands I was told that done it was Van der Graaf Generator. I remember them from, you know, way back in the Marquee days, you know, in the early 70s. But there's us. I believe they're talking about doing Motorhead, and which should be interested in that small little place when Lemmy starts to give it stick, you know. Yeah. So I think they're doing that whole series of these documentaries, and we were approached to be one of the bands to do it, you know. So I'm quite chuffed to be asked to do it, you know.
I bet the Van der Graaf Generator was quite a hair-raising performance. You can edit that out.
No, I'll leave that in. That makes up for my space comment, so I think it's 1-1 at the moment. Historically, there's always been a kind of feeling that fans are kept at arm's length from a band. You know, there's the velvet rope or the mythical backstage area. How important do you feel it is to give fans this kind of access, this level of access to a band in the small environment?
Well, by the way, this is Jimmy. He's just joined.
Welcome, sir.
Hello,
Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Yeah. So, why do you think it's important to break down that barrier and have fans in such a small, intimate setting?
I think social media has changed that. You know, beyond all recognition now. You know what I mean? There is no longer that. You know, there's no longer that barrier. People can interact. You know, people can put their points of view across. You can respond directly.
No matter how stupid their points of view are.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know, but there's definitely, you know, I think maybe people who are on stage or in the public eye are definitely becoming more, inverted commas, normalised. You know, and people are realising they're just normal human beings who just have to do a creative job. But I don't mind being close to the fans. You know, as long as. No, I don't mind at all, actually. It's quite wonderful, you know what I mean? It's nice to be able to talk to people and get their different opinions, and as long as they love the music, then it's quite easy, you know.
The other thing is with the big, you know, with the bigger venues that you're playing, you know, and in a lot of cases you just couldn't be close to because you'd be being selective for a start, just saying you can come here, but the rest of you stay away because of the amount of people that are there, you know. So a lot of that has really got nothing to do with the band. It's safety and
sure,
have a security. But I mean, for instance, like in Russia, you know, if you just said let everybody come in and say hello, you'd get stampeded, you know. But this kind of thing here is great, because afterwards we finish playing and everybody's just going to have a party together, you know. But the other thing with this one is there's so many people here from all over the planet, as we said,
Yeah.
and we know most of them because they're really big fans.
Yeah.
You know, they're the fans that we've seen that travelled to Scotland to see us play, or they've travelled to other countries to see us play from their own country. So a lot of them we know by their first name.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's going to be 75% of this audience tonight. You know, we've had a pint with them in a pub at some point. You know, somewhere in the world. You know, so this is kind of special. You know, it's not like just playing a small club. You know. But even in the small clubs, we did one fun thing. I'll tell you a great one once. We were playing in Boston in the States, and we were playing this tiny wee. God knows why we were in this place. It was a Sunday afternoon in this tiny wee club, and Joey, the drummer for Aerosmith, he showed up with his wife. He come along to say hello because we used to play with him a lot at the time. And we're in this club, and there must have been, I don't know, there must have been about 35 people in this thing. You know. Just some people with kids and things. It was unbelievable, you know, in the little stage. So when we finished playing, we said, look, we'll not bother going off and doing an encore because obviously there's not enough of you there to make a noise. So we'll just play you what we would do for the encore, you know. And when we finished the encore, it says, and by the way, Dan went, well, by the way, I'm buying, everybody go and order themselves a drink at the bar, and we just come off the stage and just walked in. We didn't even bother to go to the dressing room. And that was great. It was just, just come off the stage, sat down at the tables and went, okay, how did you enjoy that? And that was one of my favourite sort of being in touch with the audience things. You know?
I don't even think tonight's going to rival that. That's incredible. I don't blame you. London prices, I don't blame you at all, actually. You've talked about the crowd coming from all over the world, and the forums and Facebook have been lit up with, like you say, people making that journey. I understand the air traffic alone coming down from Edinburgh is going to be seismic virtually today. So what is it about the band that has that enduring appeal and that wide appeal after 40 plus years?
You'd have to ask the fans that, I think, you know.
Thank you. We've always spread ourselves fairly evenly throughout the planet, you know. We were never really sort of monstrous anywhere, but kind of big in a lot of places, which is always, it's a nice level to live at. You know, you've still got a life, but you're still big enough to be able to go to all these places. You know, so it's and what always used to happen with us was, you know, when we used to if we brought a record out, it wasn't immediately a hit all over the world, but it might be a hit there, and it might be a hit there. Yeah. So it's all right, we'll go to those two countries and play there. Yeah. And you've got another song that's a hit in another country, so you go there. You know, we had different songs that were like in Brazil. Yeah. Anytime we did some kind of ballady thing, it would go to number one or the top 10 in Brazil, you know. And people in Germany or America never even heard of it, you know. Yeah. It'd be on an album maybe, but they didn't rate the song. So we've been kind of funny like that way, you know. So we've always... I don't know. We've always had a following from all around, as I say. No monstrous, but good. Yeah.
I think the music has quite a broad appeal because it's basically, you know, we're known as a hard rock, heavy rock band, which we are. And you get that, but you get a lot more. You know, there's always been quite a lot of light and shade. You know, there's always been, you know, the ballads and things like that, and singles that've been a bit more poppy, if you like, you know, a bit catchier and whatever. So there's a broad kind of spectrum of appeal there, which I think helps, rather than just you know. Yeah. There's more than just the ugh, you know.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think one of my earliest memories is my dad playing the cover of Ruby Tuesday in the car. Oh. So that's the kind of era that, you know, travelling up and down to Cornwall, the kind of we got into. And I think you're right. I think that light and shade certainly is kind of one of the things I get from it. You talked about knowing like 75% of the audience here, and in the promo for this event, Linton, you mentioned Nazareth fans new and old. Have you noticed a developing? Is there a typical Nazareth fan anymore? Is there a type you seem to attract, or is it the broad range?
It is the broad range. You've got like the folk that have been fans of the band right from the beginning. Then you've got people that have sort of got into it over the years and at certain points and whatever, and then you've also got the influence of like the offspring of the original fans kind of get, actually this stuff my dad listens to is not that bad, getting quite into it and then sharing it with their friends. And basically what's happened is we have an audience generally that kind of sort of goes between 16 and 60.
Oh, that's
you know,
right.
You'll see that. Generally nowadays, the younger folks squeeze themselves to the front.
That's right. It's always it's never changed. When you look at the front, they always look the same as they did in 1972. They're young and crazy, But those young and crazy people are way up the back now, and it's different young and crazy people down the front. We met a girl, should I say, a young lady today, for instance, who saw the band live for the first time this year in May in Moscow. She's here. Yeah. So there you go. She'd be in her early 20s. So that's an example. Somebody's come from Moscow to, she'd like to be punished twice, and she saw the band for the first time this year. So you still get people, new people if you like, and obviously fans from a long time ago. And I don't think I think that was what we would call a typical audience,
One of the things that obviously there's no get away from is the change of vocalists. It's a massive upheaval for any band and any fans. But having seen a lot of the footage that from the Russian shows, it looks like the chemistry on stage is just absolutely zinging. Is there obviously there's a difference, but what do you feel that it brings and changes about the chemistry on stage and when performing?
Well, it's an ongoing thing, I totally take your point. It's still developing, as we get to know each other. But I suppose in one obvious way, and it's just that in the last couple of years that Dan was still managing to sing with us, he couldn't really do much more than sing. He just had to pretty much stand still. So there's maybe a little bit more movement. I don't know. But yeah, we're just building a rapport really at the moment, getting to that point. I mean, Pete and I obviously can have a wee natter away to each other during songs and that, but starting to do that with Linton and things like that as well, and you get to know what a person's likely to do at any point, so you can react
or
to
not,
but that's all, that takes time to develop,
It's that. So in some places it's like you started a new band, because sometimes it feels like that, but sometimes that's a good feeling, You're doing, it's new. You have to watch each other, You've got to sort of,
Yeah, it brings. It just by its very nature, it brings a freshness because you've got to be a bit more on your toes because. We were so comfortable with what we had.
You knew
you knew exactly what someone was probably going to say. When they were going to start booking about a bit or something like that. I'll not go over there because he always does this bit and whatever. And so you kind of have to start that from scratch again.
A learning thing.
I'm never too old to learn this one. Which brings me on to 4 decades. Fabulous success. What's next for Nazareth?
More touring. Obviously, we've had a quiet couple of years, so we're hoping to change that around and get back to because we used to be one of the hardest sort of working bands in the business, So it'd be good to get back to doing a lot more gigs and a lot more tours. I'm sure we'll record again at some point in the future. There's talk of us doing we're thinking about possibly doing a theme tour, like doing an actual album, doing a hair, like the whole Hair of the Dog or something like that,
awesome.
So there's various sort of ideas in the pipeline.
Brilliant.
Things are just, once things get settled down, you're still in still kind of learning curve, with the new lineup.
Yeah, it's very much a transitionary period at the moment,
Yeah.
So it's beginning to get a wee bit more comfortable, it doesn't happen overnight.
Sure. Yeah.
And then we're probably looking at, as Jimmy says, next year, come back with a bang. We've got a big European tour. We've got a European tour coming up.
Yeah.
So that's always a good one. That's a good way to end the year as well.
Excellent. Well, look, thanks very much for your time. We've got to move things on. But we've got the DVD of whatever's going to unfold tonight coming out next year. Really looking forward to experiencing tonight and then reliving it again on DVD. So thanks for your time, gents.
Yeah, that's a pleasure.
Thank you.